Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode number 97. This time I'm reviewing the 98th episode of the anime, The Cursed Forest. This episode is the start of a new arc, and from what I can tell, a very interesting arc. I'm loving the premise of this thing. Okay, the episode starts off with Boruto and Mitsuki just hopping around the top of the rooftops of the Hidden Leaf Village, and they're on the way to meet up with Sador, who doesn't show up for a few minutes in, and they come across a guy who they think is Peeping Tom, but nope, he's a guy who studies birds. Okay, and I don't know if any reviewers pointed this out though. Why the heck does it look like that one guy who showed up in this during the Ghost arc? He looks almost exactly like him. Yes. And somehow he kind of knows Boruto for some reason. I have no idea. All the birds, and then you're probably thinking, okay, we might not see this character, but nope, he shows us later. And they finally show up, and it turns out they have a team mission, a joint team mission with Team 15, aka Sasumori, Watami, and Namuru. And Hanabi apparently is nowhere in this episode. Yeah, maybe the writers had no plans for her for this episode, so, at least for this arc, so the way they wrote it out is that she's on Border Patrol. As for how long, no idea. And apparently he has to call her Hanabi Sensei, even though she's his freaking aunt. I don't get why, but yep. So their job is not to investigate an incursion, investigate injured wildlife. And Bardo's like, okay, fine. And so figure was it birds? He's like, really? Twice the kind of birds? And they call him a specialist, and it's the bird guy that counted for Tamaru. And they go to the village, and they're attacked by wild birds, and then they're separated. They meet with another guy who's attacked by birds, and then eventually they have to go, and Boruto has to take out a monster, and it later reveals who this guy is. I will explain who he is in a minute. And of course, Boruto is saved by Nu, who was sent by Sasumori. As for how she kind of figured out Boruto was in trouble, never specifically revealed. It's like, oh, here comes Nu, just completely out of nowhere. Yep. Saves him, and yeah. So at least she was kind of doing two things at the same time. She was worried about Boruto, and she probably heard the noise about this creature was making. So she knew, because I'm sure she probably was still following orders by having it where she still had to watch over this Tamaru. Yeah, so to watch him, but she knows that she can hear that Boruto's in trouble, so sends Nu, which not a bad idea to do. Still doing a job, perfectly fine. Saves him, of course, and Boruto realizes, hey, Nu's gotten bigger. Of course, she doesn't explain to him it was a training. Yeah, which is kind of weird. Even though this just happened, I think, which was the last episode, I think it happened. Yep, I think it was. Actually, no, it happened just a couple of episodes back that he managed to get bigger. For some reason, Sadara doesn't. For some reason, doesn't tell him about the training. The training is the reason why he got bigger. Yeah, it's never explained. It's just that he's just bigger, and apparently the writers forgot to write in a line that maybe Sasori was supposed to explain that. But at least the viewers know of how in the world he got that big. I mean, apparently either that or, and of course she's kind of helping him up. Of course, yeah. Implying that even in the show, she's attracted to Boruto. Just like in the manga. Though it's completely unknown of how in the world she managed to lose her team in between this point and when she showed up with the manga in chapter 17. All do with ninja tools. Yep. And then of course they get to the village, and then of course they of course bring the injured guy to the village. And then, of course, the village chief discovers that it has a particular mark, and it's a curse mark. Yep, making its first appearance in this particular series. Its last appearance, believe it or not, was actually in Naruto Shippuden. Yep. And, of course, Django appears. Yeah, making his first appearance in 24 episodes. The last time he showed, of course, they mentioned it here, at least they might remember this. Last time that he showed up was back during the start of the Mitsuki arc, during episode 4 of that particular arc. That was last time he was seen in the show, and it's quite a surprise to see him. And he's a central part of this arc, which is quite interesting. Because he hasn't taken part of a major story in this franchise in such a long time. I would say probably the last time he played a part in any kind of major story was the Fourth Ninja War. I guess this guy's done jack frickin' squat almost the entire franchise since the Fourth Ninja War ended. Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, he's the creature that attacked Boruto. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, they mentioned the whole thing about curse marks that Django has the most dangerous one. Forgetting to mentioning that Sadao's own father, Sasuke, was also got the curse mark as well. Now, he does bring up that Orochimaru was experimenting with curse marks. Does bring up the fact that Orochimaru was the one who gave Sasuke his curse mark. Nope, doesn't bring that up at all. Yeah, that's kind of the strange thing with this episode. It's kind of like there should be a little more information here, but for some reason it was cut out of the script for this episode. I don't know. It's particularly very bizarre. I know about the stuff related to the curse mark because I've actually watched the franchise. If people just watch like a little bit of Shippuden, at least, or they watch just a series and kind of know about the original series, they mention the curse mark, like, okay, at least they kind of explain what the curse mark is. They don't explain that Sasuke was once host to it. I'm hoping at some point that Sasuke is called and is a reinforcement to help out with Django because he's the only one who can actually control Django. Mm-hmm. And of course, they eventually go find after he runs off and takes the curse mark. The curse mark looks a little different in this series. Yeah, I mean, in the case where Django gets it, it's shown to be pretty much the same as it was in the previous show, though for some reason his physical transformation here is completely different than it was in the previous series. Did the animators of this series forget what his transformation sequence looks like? Because this looks completely different. Yes. Okay, since when does he have an armor form? Yeah, this is something he never had in the original show. Yeah. And of course, the episode ended with, of course, Sadara and Bards finding him in the cave. I think this is supposed to be his cave that was shown in flashbacks in Shippuden. But that's the only thing I can think of. But since when does a cave have a steel door on it? Yeah. I don't think this actually is his cave. I think it's some other cave that he just randomly came across. Is this one of Orochimaru's hideouts? No idea. Might not find out in next week's episode. Mm-hmm. And of course, Boruto actually. I do appreciate though that Boruto is actually written to be written much better than he had been lately, where he's not like overreacting to one particular person. He's actually very competently written. Him and Sadara are very well written this episode. I would say the best written characters of this whole episode is Boruto, Sadara, Mitsuki, and Sasumori. Of course, Sasumori's teammates have still barely got any character from the whole series. I at least appreciate, though, the series actually something different than having Team 7 team up with Team 10. Team with Team 15 is a fantastic stroke of genius when it comes to a particular series. Because never done before. Yep. Yeah. Otherwise, though, this was one really good episode. But, like I said before, this episode does have problems. Like, not explaining everything thoroughly, or forgetting to bring up something that happened 2 episodes back. Yeah, at least the animators remembered that Nu can actually do this transformation sequence, but apparently the writers forgot about it. Yes, apparently the writers of the show forgot the fact that Nu had this transformation sequence. I mean, apparently it was written that Sasumori knew about it, but the writers forgot to have her written in the script. From what I can tell, that she could have explained it, but it's kind of like maybe they wanted to have her do something, but maybe there's some lines cut from this episode. That's what it seems like. It seems like there was some important lines they could have kept in the episode, but they cut for some reason. Unknown why. But that's what it is for this episode. But this, well, yeah. aside from some minor story stuff they could have explained upon, this was a well-written episode and it's got great animation with it. Yeah, otherwise though, that's really it for this particular review. I was hoping to do a couple more videos today, but because of time, I can't do them today. So I'll say my last two videos I was planning to do today, tomorrow, because I don't have a new anime coming out tomorrow. So the only two videos I'm planning hoping doing tomorrow is just reviews of newest chapters of My Hero Academia and the 7 Deadly Sins. Okay? But see you next review. Bye.